All right, so we still have an ugly website, but we're on our way to fixing it. And I really struggled as to whether I should walk with you step by step of showing all the different Bootstrap things. But you would watch me just basically typing a lot of code from my notes that I spent a lot of time making sure it looked exactly right. And I don't think you'd gain much from it. So I've provided the templates in the finished version that I want you to bring into your project. And I'm going to walk you through some of the things so that you can sort of see how some special different things work there. So if you'd like to, feel free to style this on your own, make it completely your own design. You don't have to use what I have, but I would like to show you what I have, and then you can implement it, change it later if you want to, or just keep it as is. But of course, don't keep it as Nick Walters' portfolio. Change it to whatever your particular name is and the cool stuff that you've worked on. So if you go to the end of this section, if you go to where I've provided the source code in GitHub, you can download all the files that I have. And I want you to grab from there like the base.html, the all blogs, those different things. And you can even use the same images that I use, but really this should be about you, your project, your face. You don't want my face on your website, all those different things. But anyways, I'm going to show you how to integrate that here. So I've just have those files here on my desktop. So I'm going to open up Atom and I'm going to, well, in fact, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to take like my home and my base, which should be in the same place. I'm going to copy these, go into where I have those. So inside of my portfolio, templates, portfolio, there they are. So I'm going to delete those and then paste those in. So there's the new home and base. Then I'm also going to grab the all blogs and detail, copy these, come into my blog, app, go to templates, delete these two, paste that in. Now also I've got some static files here. So for example, I've got a logo and I've also got some CSS. So I'm going to go ahead and copy those two, bring those into my portfolio static. Go ahead and paste those in. And with these changes in place, if I go ahead and come back to the project here, look, there's all sorts of new stuff showing up here. Well, in fact, we've got to close out of these to get the new ones to show up. So if I now go look at my base, for example, you can see, whoo, there's a whole lot of different things here. So just let's go back to the page here. I'm going to reload and wow. We have something really clean here. So I know it's a little bit of like presto, masto, woo, all of a sudden it's, you know, working and it's cool now. But I'm going to walk through the different pieces there. And you can see change some of the stuff in my database. This didn't come through because I automatically pulled this between these videos. I did some work and you can see I left one out, for example. So if I want to add back in the Zappy one, I'm going to have to go to projects and say add a project. And I'm just going to copy this from what I had before. So I'm going to say, you know, Zappy Code website, and I'm going to take the same description, copy and paste that over. I'm going to use that Zappy picture, and then I'll say https://zappycode.com. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save this. So now on the home page, you notice there's nothing there, but when I reload, boom, look, you know, things show up and we can click on this and whatnot. And if we go to the blog, oh, we have nothing there because I have something to show you. So with the blog, if you're just trying to fill in some example stuff, a really great tool is Lorem Ipsum. So if you go ahead and just search Lorem Ipsum, I think I maybe misspelled it wrong, LOREMIPSUM, but this is basically a fake language that you can use to fill in text on a website to make it look like there's something there. So there's some really great, if you search Lorem Ipsum generator, but that's like one of the first results here. So this is kind of cool. This gives you a little bit of background on this. Although I do want a specific one that has things like a P tag on it. So I'm going to say Lorem Ipsum P tag. Okay, let's see. Lorem Ipsum generator. Yes, this is a site I had used before. So this one, I can say like, I want 5 paragraphs, or shoot, why not make this something like 10? And I want P tags in there, I tags, Bs. And when you hit generate, it gives you all the text for this. So you can go ahead and say like, select all, copy this. So now I can go to my blog and say, for instance, or my admin here, I want to create a blog. And I'll call this like, what's new in Django 3? Question mark. Paste this in. I'll use today's date. Save this. So now when I reload this page, look, 0 blogs, 1 blog. And look, there's what's new in Django 3. We kind of have this at the beginning. When you click on this, it's the full thing. And look, there's the bold, there's the italicized, it's got the P tags. So it's kind of cool to get an example up and running quickly. Let's go ahead and do that for one more blog. And I'll call this something like my first, we'll do my first blog post. I'm going to paste in the same thing because it doesn't really matter. And let's make this the day before so that it looks a little bit better. So I'm going to save this. Now when I reload the page, look, there's my first blog post, and we can click on that. Kind of cool to see those two things there. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I want to walk you through here so that you have an idea about how they came to be. So the first one is, how do we make it so that up here when it says, Nick Walter, that it actually shows that? And if we go ahead and do a Command-Shift-R, it should be showing the actual logo here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I'm going to go to Atom, and this is inside of the base.html. You can specify the title of the website by putting inside of the head tag here something for title. You also can specify what you want the image to be. And I had a space here. I'll change this for you so you don't have to do this. But if I save this and now reload, look at that. You get that cool little icon. So if you want one of these icons to show up inside of the tabs here in someone's browser, you just have to add a link, and then you say I'm linking an icon. It's type image/PNG. If it is a PNG, you'll have to change that if it's something else. But anyways, that's how you get that to show up. Also, I added a custom font here. So if you just Google fonts, they have an amazing selection of fonts that you can use instantly on your website. You can scroll through, so if you type something like Zappy Code is cool, you can see what it looks like in all the different fonts. And if you find one that you really like, you're like, oh, this one's cool. You can hit the plus here, and then you can simply just copy this into your head tag, which is the same thing that I did here. And then once you have that, you can use that font. And the way to use the font is you have to specify it inside of your CSS. Well, how do you add CSS to your site? Well, you have to link to your CSS, which here you can see I have one, and I didn't properly, I got all these spaces, but I'm going to fix that for you. So it's this custom.css. You can see I said everything inside of the body should have the font family Lato, which is the font that I picked. So with this, and in fact, I bet the text will change once I do this. Yeah, look, when I reload, now it's that fancier font, and you can see it there. Okay, so that's how you can add a custom font. In the CSS stuff, you can see I did some stuff like this text is really big. I had to specify that by giving an ID to that and saying, it should be this big. And I did a couple of different things about resizing. This is saying, if it's smaller than this, then don't apply that there. So you can kind of see this in action. I think it's with the blogs, like with a blog post, as I shrink this down. Yeah, you can see how it sort of really changed size there a second. That all happens from what we have here. I changed the Navbar colors because I really didn't like how light they were, and they had a little hover here. You can totally change, what these want to be. So for example, if you want to hover and it to be green, for instance, we could save this, reload, and sometimes you have to do a Command-Shift-R to really reload. And look, you can see it's green now when we hover. There's all sorts of cool little things there. Let's see, what else can I show you that would be of interest to you? So with the links to the different places, so if we go to the base.html, if you ever want to link to an outside site and you want it to open a new tab by default, because you can notice here, for example, on the home page, if I click on Zappy Code, it just takes me directly there, versus if I click on the Twitter, it opens a new tab and then takes me to this, Twitter page. So the difference here is with Twitter, for example, inside of the A tag, I added this target equals _ blank. That is basically HTML for open this in a new tab. Whereas if I go to my home, you can notice where I have the link here, I don't have that target blank. So I could add that and make that a thing. That's totally up to you about how you want to handle that, but That's kind of just a cool thing to note. Outside of that, if you really want to learn Bootstrap, you can sort of, read into what I've done here. A lot of experimentation is really helpful. That's kind of how I arrived at what I did is I, started with some base template and then just sort of moved on because Bootstrap has tons of great examples. If we go back to Get Bootstrap, just like we had done with the Navbar, if you search for nav and select the Navbar, you can start with this big behemoth and then slowly start chopping things away to what you like. Or if, down here it shows you all sorts of different cool options that you can add in there. And just so many different things. Go through the buttons, see the different things that you can add. If you have any specific questions, let me know. But there you have it. I say one more thing. I know this has gone on long. Spend some time customizing the site and really making it your own. I would recommend putting in your own picture, actually adding your own projects, putting in good write-ups. Same thing with the blog posts. Maybe actually write a real blog post. It doesn't have to be as big as the things that we've filled in here. But the more that you customize this, the better. Because in the next section, we are going to upload this to the internet. And how awesome to have your own website that you can share with the world. So feel free to customize this however you want. You can change colors. You can totally change the design on this. But whatever you do, get it ready because in the next one, we're sharing our work with the world.